Please.
was a moderate Democrat. He was not a left-wing
He's
Democrat.
He's not. It's not his base. That's not who's controlling it. What, this woman who's his vice president is going to control it.
We did not do 284.
Walter, call up the governor. Tell him to put your electricity on.
Man, I don't pay enough for electricity. I don't want to tell you what my bill was for the last 2 months. Okay, let's learn, guys. It's late.
Nun Aleph.
Nun Aleph.
We're on.
Amar Rava. So when a person is walking at a significant distance from his home, and we said that if he can identify a landmark, like a tree, within 2,000 amas of where he is, he can designate that place verbally as his domicile. But Rava now puts a qualification on that. He has to have enough time to run there and get there before Shabbos starts. If the location that he's designating, he can't get there before Shabbos, even with running, then it won't work. What do you mean? It says, as the sun was going down, he can designate the place. It doesn't say that he has to run there. So, chashka leveso, yeah. Meaning, he doesn't have the time to get to his house. Avali kor shalila motzi oz. Rava will explain that to mean that he does have to have the potential to get to the tree. Rava chashkalo ki mazgi kali kali. It means as long as he can get there running, it works. Even if he's going to walk there slowly, but we don't care. So if he could have gotten there running, it'll be kosher. And that's how the Shulchan Aruch paskins. He doesn't have to run there, but if he has the potential to get there through running, it'll work. Rabbi Rav Yosef Avakazli Borcha. Rabbi Rav Yosef were traveling. Armalei Rabbi Rav Yosef. Teheshvi Sosenu Tusi Dikli de Savalachua. You know, there's a palm tree where two palm trees are sort of wrapped around each other. Let that place be our domicile. Ba'amri law, some people say what he said, Tusi Dikli de Park Mari Mikarga. You know, that palm tree that makes so many dates that I can pay all my taxes from that tree. Yodele Mar. So Rava asked Rav Yosef, do you know that tree? Amrele lo yadanu. I don't. However, Rava said, Amrele small chalai, but you can rely on me. I know where it is. The Tanya, Rav Yosef Omer. If there are two people walking, one knows the location, the other doesn't. The one who doesn't know can rely, like a shaliach almost, on the guy who does makir. Zesh makir Omer. And it'll work. However, it's not correct. Lohi, lo ton like Rabbi Yossi. It wasn't Rabbi Yossi. He just mentioned Rabbi Yossi. Mishum Rabbi Yossi nimuko imo. Rabbi Yossi was known that the halach always followed him. So he quoted him, but it wasn't really true. But the halach is like that. We said if Shabbos is approaching and he can't get to his house and he doesn't recognize a tree, okay, so he establishes his domicile where he is, and he's got 2,000 amas in every direction. Hani alpai mama heicha ksiva. Where do we learn 2,000 amas? The Tanya, Shvu ish tachtav, everyone should have the area that he sits under, which we already learned a few blot ago. Person is usually 3 amas tall, and then 1 amma for his arm. Elo arba amas. Al yetze ish mimkomo, person should not leave his place. Elo alpai mama, nolan, Where do you get that? Rav Chisda. So we learn Gzeira Shava from multiple psukim. Lamadnu mimakom, because it says Al Yetzei Ish Mimkomo. And then by a Rotzeach Bishgaga, it says V'samti L'cha Makom, I will make a place Asher Yanus Shama, where you will run away. So it says Makom and Nisa. And then we learn Nisa mi Nisa, because it says V'im Yatso Yetzei Rotzeach as Gvul Ir Maklato. If the murderer who's hiding out in the Ir Miklat leaves, Asher Yanus Shama. So again, it says Yanus. And then it says Nisa Migvul. The Gzeira Shava continues because it says Gvul and Nisa. And then we're going to make another Gzeira Shava Gvul Gvul because it says Umatza Oso Goel Adam Michutz Legvul Ir Miklato. If the family relative of the one who was murdered finds the murderer outside Michutz Legvul, so again, we have the words Gvul and Chutz. And we're going to continue the Gzeira Shava Chutz Michutz, because when it talks about the Are Leviim, the cities of the Leviim, they have to be constructed in a certain landscape, because they are also served as Ari Mikla. It says Umadosemi Chutz La'ir, so there's that word Chutz. Es Pa'as Kedma Alpayim Ba'amah. Right, because you have to leave 2,000 amis. Vas pas negev alpayim b'ma v'mpasiyam alpayim b'ma v'mpasafan alpayim. You have to leave the city 2,000 amis in each direction open, so it would have a nice view. So we get all the way from Makom to alpayim amma. Ayet say ish mimkomo. How much is mimkomo alpayim amma? Freik the Gemara of an Elif Mikira Irvachutza Elif Amma. The pasuk also has a pasuk that says Mikira Irvachutza Elif Amma. It says the word chutz. Why didn't you learn the Gzeira Shava that it's only 1,000 amas? So, because over there it says chutza, Mikira Irvachutza. It doesn't say chutz. And the Gemara says, "Done in chutz michutz, the ain't done in chutz michutza." Afraid what might have kamina? Why shouldn't we learn Gzeira Shava? We have a famous brayso Tana Rabbi Shmuel. It says v'shava kohen uvoa kohen. In Torah's Kohanim, they make a Gzeira Shava between two places that doesn't even have the same word. It says v'shava kohen uvoa kohen. Zui shiva, zui bia means the same thing. It doesn't have to be the same word. So certainly we can make a Gzeira Shava chutz from chutza. Hani mili heicha deleka midi dedamele. When will we learn shav a coin and vo a coin? Because there was nothing else to compare. Aval heicha deika midi dedamele medamele afiman. We have the choice to learn chutz from chutz versus chutz from chutza. We're always going to use the exact Gzeira Shava. Then the Mishnah debated whether when you get 2,000 amas, is it circular 2,000 amas, or is it a square? Rav Chanina ben Antigus Madavshach. He is like Gzeira Shava. So Rav Chanina, who said it was a circle, understand. If he learns the Gzeira Shava, the city of Levium were square. Peos ksiven. He less like Gzeira Shava. He doesn't have the Gzeira Shava. Pai Mamin Nali. Where does he learn 2,000 amas? La'olam is like Gzeira Shava. He learns the Gzeira Shava. Shiny achi d'amar kro ze yelahem migrushay ha'arim. You know what? This shall be the dimensions of your courtyards in front of your city. Lezata not same place. This has to be square. But viata nois and pesel shav shabbos. For tchum, that could be circular. Now the Rabbanon who learns that it's square, Tani Rav Chananya Omer. Kazei you call Shav Shabbos. From the Zey Yalachem means just like for the Migresh or has to be square, for the Shav Shabbos also has to be square. Based on this, We always have learned that if you carry Dal Amas B'Reshus Harabim, you're chayiv. However, he says that you have to draw a square, dalid by dalid, and you draw the hypotenuse, the diagonal that bisects the square. So it's 5 point, right? It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So it's 4 by 4. So it's 16 plus 16. 16 plus 16. Square root of 32 is 5.4. Is so that when you are machayiv somebody for carrying Rosh Hashanah, it's got to be 5.4 amas. We paskin like that in the Shulchan Aruch. It's 5.3 and a fifth. On Rav Papa Bodiklan Rava checked us. If you have a pillar in the Rosh Hashanah that's 10 high and 4 wide, does it need to be 5.3 by 5.3 or 4 by 4 is enough? I mean, that means you have to do it with this alaksum. Even for to create a proper Rosh Hashanah, it's got to be a little bigger than 4 by 4. So we had a debate in the Mishnah whether this ability to just use your words to make an eruv without bread, is that only for the ani or even an ani and an ashir? Rav Meir, anu ein lanu elo ani. Rav Meir says an ani. Rav Yehuda said no, ani and an ashir. Rav Nachman machlokas b'mekoimi. The machlokas is when the person wants to say without bread, with his physical body, this is my domicile. Rav Meir sover ikar eruv b'pas. Really, the original takon of eruv was with bread. That's how you create a place of rest. It's only ani hu dakilu rabban alei. For a traveler and anybody who's traveling is considered like an ani because he doesn't have his wealth with him. The chachamim were mekel to allow him to create his domicile in his location. Aval Asher, who is normally in his house with his bread, does not have the ability to do that. While Rav Yehuda sover ikar eruv beregel. No, even for everybody, the standard eruv was to go with to physically show up there, and this is the place of Mkoin Shvisa, and that's echad ani ve'echad asher. Aval b'makom ploni, but this halacha that you identify a tree, and I want that to be my domicile, that's divrei hakol. That ani in, asher lo. That only an ani has the ability to do that, and not an asher. V'zui shamru ma'an ktani lo. And this is what we said, who's the author? There's Rav Meir, the Haikoi, Aeno Makir Shena Boki Balacha. That it's going on somebody who doesn't recognize a landmark or doesn't know the halacha. V'lo amru marbu v'pasel ha'akel, and when they said that they only allowed you a piece of bread to make an eruv, that's leniency, man k'nai, that's Rav Yehuda. So that's the way Rav Nechemia learns. But Rav Chisda Amar machlokas b'makom ploni. No, the machlokas between Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda is when you designate a place like a tree, a landmark. That's when Rav Meir sover ani in asher lo. Only an ani can do that, not an asher. And Rav Yehuda sover echad ani ve'echad asher, both can do it. Aval bimkomi, but everybody agrees. I want to make my domicile here, my location. Everybody holds that the main takon of Erev is with your feet. The Zui Sha'amr Manktar, that's Reb Meir. Because somebody who's coming late on Shabbos, the Erev Shabbos is getting late. So that's when he has to make his domicile there. That's different according to both Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda. However, Tanya Kavos said Rav Nachman. There's a brisa to support the way Rav Nachman learned the machlokas. So the Shulchan Aruch paskins that when you are going to designate a separate location from where you are, and where you're not using bread, you just say the location, it's not only by an oni, somebody who's on the road. Somebody who's at home cannot point to a tree or something and with his words, without bread or without his physical body being there, make it work. So we paskin like what Nehemiah. And if you go with your feet, either an oni or an asher can do it. Whether a person could leave his home and go there physically with his body, he can acquire the Makam Shmisa in the location where he physically goes. Tani Kavaz Rav Nachman Echad Ani v'Echad Asher Marvin b'pas. Both an Ani and an Asher can be Ma'arv b'pas. The person an Asher cannot go beyond this 2,000 amas and say, "This is my domicile." This ability to go physically with your body is only for the traveler, did Rabbi Meir. But Rabbi Yehuda, and that's how we paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. Even an Ani Asher can be marved with your body. That's the person can leave his home and establish a new tchum. Now, you're allowed to appoint a shaliach. A person in his home can give a piece of bread to his servant to lay down. Thank you. A person can appoint a shaliach to put his bread in the Makam HaShrisa. B'yad bno, b'yad shlucho, b'shvila so that he doesn't physically have to go. On Rav Yehuda Ma'aseh Banshe Beis Memel, Banshe Beis Gurion, Baruma, Shai Machalkin Groi Grois, V'tzimukin Laniyim, B'shani Batzoyres. These cities used to give out raisins to poor people. Now, they lived like almost 4,000 amas away from this city. So what these aniyim would do, they would go physically, these people from Kvarsichin, and go literally to the end of their 2,000 amas, create a domicile there. Now, the machras mashkim will move on. They can come to the city because it was 2,000 amas from there and get the raisins. So you see that they were allowed to do it with their bodies. Person is going to a city and he's going to make an eruv. But on his way, Chaverim told him, go back. You don't have to come. So who mutter leilech? So he can go beyond the 2,000 amas. But the rest of the city who did not make such an eruv are also did Rabbi Yehuda. But what's the difference between him and them? Well, the case was he had a house in this city, he had a house in the other city. There was 4,000 houses between the houses. He set out on the road. He's like an ani now because doesn't have anything with the chavale ani, and therefore he could establish a tchum in a different location. From here we learn Amakol b'makom ploni. ani in Asher Lo, to establish a shvisa in a physical location where he's not, like at a landmark. Only an ani can do it, not an Asher. Shema minos, it's a good proof. That's why we pass him like this brisa. Maser Rav Chia Barash L'Chia Barav Kamei de Rav Echad Ani v'Echad Asher. Amalei Rav Sayim Bo Nami Alach Rav Yehuda. That it works for an ani and an Asher. Alach Rav Yehuda. That you can do with your physical body, both people. Rav Chana v'Ragel Dasim Artivna l'Pumpadisa. Rav Chana would travel from Artivna to Pumpadisa. Amar tehei shvisasi bitzinta. This place was between the tchumim of these two places. And we'll analyze a little bit more tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow